grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Goodar.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Lepore.
Here.
Nastrovich.
Here.
Ricks.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Yar.
Here.
Good to see everybody here tonight. Approval of minutes for the budget workshop of April 30th would be in order.
So moved. Support.
What's been made and supported? Is there any discussion on the motion or on the minutes?
Yes. 204. The first line. Talk about the tip of funds for cable-related expenses instead of the funds coming out of the general fund.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about taking that out of the cable funds, the cable fees.
Okay, it was one and the same thing, but Jeff. General fund and the cable fees have been going into the general fund.
At least
There
this
is
year.
no
at least-
cable fund.
At least out of this year's cable fees.
But you wanna change general fund to cable fund?
From cable to cable fees.
Cable fee. I'm
Cable
sorry, I
fees.
thought you said fund. The cable fee. Okay,
That's all I need.
okay.
I guess I need some clarification on
Yeah,
which, it's replacing which part?
the end, of the statement, general fund,
Okay.
Jeff would like to see that changed to cable fee.
What are the cable fees?
Yeah, I believe the comment was from the general fund, but,
Because that's where the cable fees have gone.
exactly, that's what I said, so,
So
But not
maybe
all.
coming out of the cable fees that have been placed in the general fund?
Or we didn't tap any of this year's cable fees either. So there was,
but that's not,
$0?
but the statement, if I remember correctly, the statement is how it's spelled out here in this statement, in this sentence. I understand your point, but I don't believe that's the way it was delivered in the meeting. We talked generally that the cable money is put into the general fund. So the sentence is correct. If you wanted to add to it,
Cable.
you'd have
The
to
cable.
add to the sentence. And I wouldn't be opposed to slash, cable fees.
that's fine here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. But I'm almost positive that it was stated general fund. Okay. Okay, council, are you comfortable with adding cable fees / general fund? Okay. Okay, anything else? Being not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion passes. We move on to our regular city council meeting of May 5th. Is there a motion for those minutes?
so moved.
Support.
What's been made and supported? Is there any discussion on these minutes or the motion? Being not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. We move on to audience comments on any non-agenda items. If anyone who would like to address the city council, then we would ask that you would come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
My name's Diane Johnson. I live at 36781 Dow Street, apartment 141. And this has been brought up apparently before, but I would like to propose that we get a dog park going.
Dog park?
There's several reasons. For one thing, it'll bring in money for the city because you'd have fees. You can also hold other events there, anything from adoptions to training sessions to exhibitions. And that would also bring in extra money. It would also be great for people. I notice there's an awful lot of dog owners in here who have no fenced-in yards or who live in the condos or the apartments. There is no place for us to let our dogs run. And they end up getting a little squirrely, including this one. Putting them on a leash or a tether just isn't the kind of exercise they actually need. And with the park, besides wearing them down, which makes them easier to train, it socializes them, gives the owners a chance to socialize with each other too. And I just think it'd be a good idea. I also brought some information regarding some of the rules that some of the places have. Let's see, there's a list of the dog parks in Macomb County. And I also brought how to start one, but I don't know if I want to give that to you guys yet. But you might like to look it over, and it does really explain quite thoroughly how to do it. It would give you an idea of both why it's necessary and how to go about it. So if you'd like to look at that, I brought.
If you hand it to our clerk, we'd be more than happy to take a look at it. It is possibly something that would go to our rec department as a park. Thank you. Would anybody else like to address council at this time on any non-agenda items? If not, we will move on. Is there, Mr. City Manager, any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
City Council, any changes to the agenda? Motion to accept the agenda as presented would be in order.
So moved.
Support. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion passes. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. There's no discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We have 3 items for consideration this evening. The first one being consideration of special event request, Community Baptist Church, outdoor service and concert. Mr. City Manager.
City Council is scheduled to consider a special event request from the Community Baptist Church of Richmond to hold a picnic and concert on Saturday, August 2nd, and a service and picnic on Sunday, August 3rd in Beebe Street Park. The church would like to utilize the area next to the Good Old Days Barn for the event, which would be held on Saturday from noon to 9 p.m. and Sunday with the service starting at 10:30 in the morning and the picnic to follow immediately after the service till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Previously, we've approved a tent service on Sunday. They normally put the tent up on Friday. Last year they did, so the tent is there on the Saturday. This year they're changing their request to not only have the service on Sunday, but also the concert and picnic on Saturday as well. It normally would go to the rec board. Unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum. I don't believe any of the rec board had a problem with this. They, as I mentioned, have approved the tent services as has council in the past. The only change is the concert on Saturday. So with that, administration's recommendations for approval.
Very good. Is somebody from the church like to speak to the city council on what is being requested?
My name is Russ Boy. The idea was to have a family day, free event, concert, picnic at the park, open to the public, sponsored by Community Baptist Church. The tent's already there. We thought it would be a good idea to utilize the stage in the tent by having children events for a couple of hours, structured events, some kid games and, contests, that sort of thing. And then invite local musicians, Christian musicians, to come and play on the stage. We bring in the sound system and all of that. Have that run from maybe 4 until 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, cut the music off, and then have the church youth police the park to make sure it was cleaned up and ready for the end of the day. During the concert, the idea was to bring in a pig roast. We would get that started obviously earlier in the day, and open it up as free to the public. And the idea was maybe a couple of pots of chili and just have it a picnic type atmosphere, free and open to the public to come and enjoy the music and a day at the park.
Very good. Is this going to be all on the Good Old Days side of the road, or is it gonna be?
Last year, everything during the service and the picnic afterwards was on the Good Old Days side of the road.
Okay, is that the plan, to be
Yes.
on the north side of the road? Okay.
Yes.
So the gazebo would still be open for use by the public?
It was last year during
Okay.
Sunday service, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, okay.
And I know on the Sunday service, they made some announcements afterwards to be aware of that it is a public park and
Yeah.
others may be using the park. I know
Yeah.
they've made some announcements to that effect.
Okay. Is there, oh, don't get away yet. Are there any questions by the city council before we let Mr. Boyd sit down? No, good, you're off the hook. Thank you. Okay, is there a motion?
Go on. Go on.
I move to approve the Community Baptist Church of Richmond special event request to use PB Street Park for a picnic and concert on Saturday, August 2nd, and their Sunday service and picnic on Sunday, August 3rd at 10:30 a.m. with the condition that they coordinate the location of the tent with the Good Old Days Festival.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion?
I think there was no issues that we've heard from it last year, so I'm comfortable with us doing it again.
Anything else at the table? Any audience comments on this? Back to the table?
Mr. Mayor, I just think it's great. It's nice, nice use of the park, I think, and hopefully it'll bring people in for this event and getting around town as well.
I just appreciate, I know the festivals worked with us in the past, or at least last year, to have access to the barn and the electrical in the barn.
Yeah, that won't be any problem. I was just looking at my calendar to make sure that we didn't have a parade or something. And you can get a little bit closer to the barn because the float's not in there anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, we've rented a spot outside.
Discuss that with
Yeah,
Russ.
so we'll work on that.
I wasn't sure. I knew there was, I thought it moved, but I wasn't sure, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll get together. Okay. If there's nothing else, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Good luck. Hope you have good weather. Item number 2 is consideration of bid award street repairs contract. Mr. City Manager?
Bids for street repairs were opened on Tuesday, May 13th. We received 4 bids, and the low bid was from James P. Contracting, who is also currently doing the Clarkston Lane project. These are for repairs that are due to water and sewer repairs, things of that nature over the winter. And Paul has provided a listing and kind of map showing the location of these. Paul had talked to me earlier today about being here. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'll answer any questions you may have.
Were these breaks during the winter? Sewer
Uh,
and water, basically?
It could be any number of those, but yes.
Okay. Quite a few of them.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to award the street repair contract 2014 SR1 in the amount of $14,865 to James P. Contracting with the expenses charged to the appropriate contractual services line item of the major street, local street, sanitary sewer fund, and water fund.
Support.
What's been made and supported? Is there any discussion on this motion?
I do have just a question. You can see the disparity in the quotes.
Yeah.
I know we sent it out for 5 and we got 4 back. In the event that there was, the one that's kind of really out of line with the other ones, do we have the option of rejecting?
We have the right to reject all bids. Yep.
Okay.
If they came in that all of them were well beyond our means to accept, we have that right within all of our bid contracts to reject any and all bids, or reject all bids if we so choose.
Do we happen to know why that one was kind of out there, or they just
We're not sure.
throwing numbers down just to?
You evidently didn't want the job unless we were willing to pay that kind of money.
Okay.
3 times over 3 times the amount of
Yep, not sure.
what it's gonna cost us. And we've seen that a few times over the
Couple-
years where
Yeah.
if you wanna pay that kind of money, they'll come out, It's too bad. That wasn't close. Anything else? Table? Anything, any comments from the audience? Back to the table? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Our final item is consideration of appointment to the library board. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider making an appointment to the library board. There is currently one vacancy on the board. Denise Robson had previously submitted an application, and we have her application on the agenda tonight for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion? I'll make a motion to appoint Denise Robson to the library board to fill a vacant term with an expiration date of June 30th, 2016.
Support.
Thank you, Jamie. Discussion? Made a few phone calls when I got back from vacation here, and she comes with very high marks from all involved with the library. So they are thrilled that she has put her application in to help them work on improving the library. Any other discussion? Any audience comments? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. We move on to city manager's comments, sir.
Just a reminder that this upcoming Monday is Memorial Day Parade. If you plan on attending and riding with council, give me an email. That helps us just determine how many cars we may need. As a reminder, I'll be on vacation this Thursday and Friday. I will be back in town on Sunday in order to be here for the parade on Monday. Also, I have a couple packets for the two members of the Public Works Director committee members.
Some reading for the weekend?
Reading for the weekend, the first
Yeah.
group.
How many?
Just 11 this time.
11?
And then I got 3 more today that I haven't had a chance to copy, so.
Okay. Very good. Okay, we move on to council comments. Michael, we'll start with you tonight.
Just to follow up to the Department of Public Works Director search, so the 11, does the committee get the full amount of the resumes, or
Yes.
are they filtered first through for
No, I'm
vet
giving them everything.
qualification? Okay,
Yep.
just curious. Appreciate again, I mentioned last time, the hard work that the city administration did for the budget, getting ready. We had our final meeting on May 12th. Went well, had to really sharpen our pencil and think of things, so went well as well. In regards to the dog park, I know I appreciate Diane Johnson coming here today to talk to us about that. I know it was like 2 years ago or so, or maybe 3 now, where we had another group that was interested in a dog park. And I know in the past when we had kind of some of these, and maybe it's not the right word, but niche interests for the park that, like the skate park is what I want to bring up. And I think we talked about if those groups can potentially do some fundraising and maybe get somebody to match their funds, that I know for the skate park that we matched what they raised for that, but it was brought to us before our budget process was done so that we could consider it in a presentation. So I would, encourage you to get support from the community, and that could be something to be considered after it goes through the rec board, obviously, as well. But we've done that in the past where we've contributed when we saw that there was indeed full support and financial backing from those groups. So thank you for coming. I have 2 dogs, so I'd be very interested.
Jamie?
Just thank you for working together on the budget, that it's done. Excellent job to the administration, and that's it.
Jeff?
Yeah, 2 things. One, I want to thank the police department for it was a nice award ceremony, very respectful and reminding the work of the police, what they do for us. Appreciate Senator Pavlock coming down for the award ceremony. Also, just commenting good about the rec park, the dog park, Ms. Johnson brings up. It was also, our rec master plan, just a reminder, was driven by the community through community outreach and their feedback and what they thought was important. And that's where we got the rec plan. And dog park was, I think, included in there, but didn't wean the necessary support from the community outreach to make that initially a priority. So I think if it keeps coming back to the, rec board and they keep hearing about it, maybe they'll, move that up in that priority list. But I said, our spending on recreation really tries to be driven on what the community as a whole kind of gives us feedback about.
Dennis?
I too enjoyed the budget meetings. It was great to work with everybody. And the police ceremony was really great. Good turnout, standing room only for a lot of people. So commend the chief on a great job on speaking. And he had to speak the whole time. I guess Tim Fair couldn't make it, right? So, or Sergeant Fair. So.
I think they heard I was gonna be out of town, so.
Yeah, everybody showed up then.
It did seem to be the shorter ceremony.
Yeah, was it?
Very short.
More time for the desserts, right? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Jeffrey?
Just concur with everything that was said and nothing more really to add.
Jim?
I concur with everything that's been said.
Very good. So do I. Let's go over the calendar quickly. Today being May 19th, we have a special planning commission meeting at 7 o'clock this Thursday, the 22nd. The library will be closed on Saturday due to the Memorial Day weekend and reopen on Tuesday. Of course, city manager informed you we'll have a parade at 10 a.m. starting at the high school, working its way north on Main Street to the ceremonies at the city cemetery immediately following the parade. And we have a TIFA meeting on the 28th right here at City Hall at 7 o'clock. And our next regularly scheduled city council meeting will be the first Monday of June, which will be June 2nd. School, the community calendar says school is out on the 6th. I believe it because of our wonderful winter we had, I believe it's running into the teens or something, I'm not quite sure.
believe
Or even
so.
maybe
I
the
don't have-
20th?
June
Might be-
12th.
Huh?
June 12th, I believe. is
June
last day.
12th is the last day of school?
Yep, it ends on Thursday.
Okay,
I've been told.
I had heard it was longer than that. Okay, so again, we have warned you before, watch out for our kids. They're gonna be running around when school lets out. Okay, is there anything else that we need to bring up at this time?
Just if I can kind of clarify, you mentioned the special meeting of the planning commission.
Yes.
Just to let council know, when I have my vacation days Thursday and Friday, and I would have been able to make the regular meeting, but then the applicant wanted to bump up or have a special meeting, and so they paid the fee, so I unfortunately will not be able to be there. That's the first planning commission I've missed since being manager, so.
And I had already had a previous game scheduled for that day, which should be our last game of the season, and I had informed them that when they changed the date that I could not make that, so neither one of us are gonna be there. Oh, if it rains, I'll be there.
No more rain.
Yeah, no more rain, hopefully. It was beautiful weather in North Carolina last week. All right, we have a closed session this evening that we have to go into for reasons of negotiations. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I move to convene into closed session in accordance with Section 8C of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976 as amended, for stranded negotiation session connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement if either negotiating party requests a closed hearing.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Green,
Yes.
LaFour,
Yes.
Nastrovich,
Yes.
Ricks.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Yarrick,
Yes.
Goodar.
Yes.
Motion passes. We will convene into closed session in 5 minutes.